Hey, my name is Daniel, and if you had asked me a year ago, I would have told you that I don't believe in revenge. I was raised to take the high road, to let things go, to believe that good people don't keep score, they just move on. But I've learned something the hard way, that philosophy only works when everyone's playing fair, and not everyone does. You see, when someone you trust more than anyone else in the world, someone you've shared your life, your home, your future with, looks you in the eye while quietly planning to destroy you, it changes something inside you. This isn't just a story about my marriage falling apart. It's about what happens when you stop ignoring the signs and start paying attention. It's about how betrayal doesn't always come with shouting or slammed doors. Sometimes it tiptoes into your life quietly while smiling at you from across the dinner table. I'm not telling this story because I'm proud of everything I did. I'm telling it because I survived. Because when I was standing on the edge of something I didn't see coming, I didn't fall. I adapted, I learned, and I made sure that when the other shoe dropped, I wasn't the one left picking up the pieces. Some people say revenge is ugly, but I don't see it that way. Sometimes revenge isn't about getting even, it's about getting smart. It's about seeing the truth, even when it hurts. It's about protecting yourself before someone can rip your world out from under you. This is the story of how I caught my wife planning a divorce behind my back, how she tried to take everything, and how I made one move that turned the entire game around. So no, I didn't go looking for revenge, but when betrayal came knocking, I opened the door with my eyes wide open, and I made damn sure I didn't go down quietly. She looked me in the eye and told me she wanted a divorce. No tears, no argument, no real explanation, just a calm, calculated statement like she was placing an order for takeout. And in that moment, I knew this hadn't just happened. She had planned it. Planned to leave me, planned to take the house, the money, and every piece of the life we built together. But what she didn't know, what she couldn't possibly guess, is that 2 weeks before she filed, I'd already moved everything. You could see it in her face during mediation, when her lawyer opened that folder and realized the assets she was coming for were already gone. That silence, that moment, that was everything. It wasn't petty, it wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, precise, necessary, because when you give your heart to someone and they sharpen it into a weapon, you don't just stand there and bleed, you learn to fight back with paperwork, with planning, with patience. See, the world loves to talk about love stories. No one talks about the moments they turn into war zones. No one tells you how it feels to sleep beside someone who's secretly plotting your downfall, how they still kiss your cheek while building an exit behind your back. But that's what this is. This is a story about waking up, about realizing that the person you trusted the most isn't just pulling away, they're getting ready to strike, and about how I stopped being the man who hoped it would all just get better, and became the man who made sure I wouldn't be destroyed when it didn't, single quotes. So if you're here for a love story, this might not be it. But if you're here for the truth about betrayal, survival, and the quiet revenge that comes with being one step ahead, you're in the right place. Before everything changed, I thought I was one of the lucky ones. My wife Rachland, I had built what most people would call a solid marriage. 6 years together, 4 married, and not just surviving. We were thriving. I'm not saying it was perfect, no, marriage is, but it was comfortable. We laughed, we planned, we shared dreams, worries, bank accounts, and a bed. I trusted her fully. She wasn't just my partner, she was my person. We had our little routines, She'd plan elaborate date nights, wine candles, music, and I'd bring her favorite takeout on late work nights. Sunday mornings were for coffee and silent scrolling on the couch, just being together. Even our arguments were more like sparring matches with love underneath. There was always a rhythm, a warmth. It felt like we'd figured out something rare in this world. We'd talk about the future vacations we couldn't afford yet. Dream homes with wraparound porches, maybe kids someday. She made our tiny apartment feel like a home. She remembered the weird things I like: cherry cola, that one random song I played on repeat, and I tried to be everything she needed, too. Supportive, attentive, available, so when things started to shift, I didn't notice right away. Because when you love someone deeply, you don't look for signs they're pulling away. You trust the love to hold, and maybe that's where I went wrong. I was so sure of us that I stopped asking questions, stopped noticing the distance. Because here's the truth: when you're in love, you fill in the blanks. You explain away the absences, the missed texts, the changes in tone. I thought we were just tired, busy, caught in the cycle of adult life: work, bills, laundry, repeat. I didn't realize that while I was building a life with her, she was quietly planning her exit from it. If you'd told me back then that one day I'd be preparing legal defenses against her, moving assets in secret, and sitting across from her in a divorce mediation, I'd have laughed, because I believed in us. But belief can't save you from betrayal, and love doesn't always mean safety. Looking back, it didn't start with a big moment. There was no screaming match, no slammed doors, just small things, quiet shifts. At first, I didn't even clock it. She started keeping her phone closer, nothing dramatic, just subtle. Where it used to sit on the coffee table for hours while we watched TV, now it was always within reach. Even when she was folding laundry or heading to the kitchen, the phone came with her. I made a joke one night, something like, "What are you doing, running a secret spy ring?" She laughed it off, said work was just getting intense and she needed to stay plugged in. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? But a few days later, she added a password, out of nowhere. She'd never done that before. When I asked, casually, why, she said something about security and hackers. It didn't sit right, but I let it go. I didn't want to come off as paranoid. Then came the calls. She started stepping out to answer them. Sometimes mid-conversation, sometimes during dinner. Always the same line: "It's just a friend from work." She'd slip outside or into the bedroom, shutting the door softly behind her. That wasn't like her. We never had secrets. We were the couple who told each other everything, even the stupid stuff. But now, it felt like she was performing a version of herself, smiling, present, but not really there. And then one Wednesday, decided to surprise her. She told me she was meeting a friend for coffee after work. I happened to be running errands nearby and thought, why not swing by? It'll be sweet. But when I parked and waited, she wasn't with anyone. She was pacing alone outside the cafe, phone to her ear, completely unaware I was watching from the car. I didn't mean to listen in, but I caught fragments. "It's almost ready. Starting fresh, soon." It wasn't about work. It wasn't about a friend. It was something bigger. Planned. My stomach dropped. The world didn't tilt or crash. It just got very, very quiet inside me. That night, when she came home, I asked how her coffee date went. She spun a story so fast it scared me. And in that moment, I knew Something was coming. I just didn't know how bad it would be yet. From that day forward, I couldn't unsee the signs. They were everywhere. She wasn't just distant, she was calculated. Conversations that used to flow effortlessly now felt forced. If I brought up our anniversary, she'd say, "Yeah, we'll see," and quickly change the subject. If I mentioned buying a new car or planning a trip, she'd get quiet, like I'd just brought up something inappropriate. Then came the question that made my heart sink. "Hey, do you think we should organize all our financial documents? Like, put everything in one place, just in case something happens?" She said it while scrolling through her phone, not even looking at me. On the surface, it sounded responsible. But the way she said it, too rehearsed, too polished, like a line she had practiced in the mirror, my gut twisted. Why now? We had always kept our finances fairly simple, separate, even. Now suddenly she wanted full transparency after months of secrecy. I didn't argue, I just nodded. But I couldn't sleep that night. I kept replaying her tone, her words, the conversation I overheard outside the cafe the next day while she was at work. I logged into our joint bank account, and that's when it all started clicking into place. Small, quiet withdrawals had been happening over the last month. Not huge, but just enough to feel off. And they weren't for groceries, bills, or anything we'd discussed. I didn't confront her. I didn't even let on that I knew. Instead, I called someone I trusted, an old college buddy who's also a lawyer. I told him everything, even though I felt ridiculous saying it out loud. He didn't laugh. He didn't tell me I was overthinking it. He just said, "Daniel, if she's planning something, and it sounds like she is, you need to be ready before she makes her move." Those words hit hard, because until then, I was still hoping I was wrong. Still praying I was just reading too much into it. But hearing it from someone else, it made it real. That night, I sat at my desk and opened my laptop, hands shaking, heart pounding. I wasn't just protecting money, I was protecting myself from the woman I thought would never hurt me. That night, everything changed. I wasn't angry, not in the way people imagine revenge looks: loud, impulsive, emotional. I was calm, because for the first time in weeks, I had clarity. I knew what she was doing, and I knew I had one chance to move before she did, so I acted while she was out. One evening, I gathered every document: bank statements, investment records, the house deed, and reviewed them one by one. Every page felt like a goodbye. Not to her, but to the version of our life I thought was real. And then I did something I never thought I'd do. With my lawyer's help, I quietly transferred every major asset into a trust under my mother's name. Legally sound, irrevocable, untraceable, unless you knew exactly where to look. The house, the savings, the stocks, gone from her reach. I left just enough in our joint account to keep up appearances. Enough for groceries, bills, whatever she expected to see when she checked the balance. Meanwhile, she acted like nothing was wrong. She kissed me goodnight, asked what I wanted for dinner, even joked about watching that old series we never finished. It was almost surreal. The more affectionate she became, the more certain I was she thought she had me exactly where she wanted. But the truth, I was already out, and 2 weeks later, her move came. She sat me down on a Friday night and delivered the line I'll never forget. "I think we should get a divorce." No tears, no guilt, just cold detachment, like she was giving me a weather update. I didn't react, didn't argue, didn't beg her to stay. I just nodded, because I wasn't surprised. When the divorce papers arrived, they were aggressive. She wanted half of everything: the house, the savings, the car, even spousal support despite a high-paying job. But I didn't panic. I waited. And on mediation day, when her lawyer opened that folder and saw that every asset was already protected, the silence in the room was deafening. She looked at me shocked. "You planned this," she whispered. I met her eyes and said nothing, because I didn't have to. She had made her move, and I'd already made mine. After that day, after the mediation table, the silence, the shock, I didn't feel victorious. There was no thrill, satisfaction in watching her face fall. What I felt was grief. Grief for the life we had. Grief for the version of her I once believed in. Because when you love someone deeply, the betrayal doesn't just hurt, it shatters something in you, something innocent, something trusting. But here's what I've come to learn. Survival isn't about pretending it didn't happen. It's about facing the truth and choosing to live anyway. It's about learning that boundaries don't make you cold, they keep you safe. And that sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to stop hoping someone will change and start protecting who you are. I used to wonder if I overreacted, if maybe I'd misunderstood her intentions. But that doubt died the day a mutual friend showed me the text messages, her conversations with Jake, planning the whole thing behind my back. It was never about finding herself. It was about finding a way out. With everything I had worked for, and when it all fell apart, when Jake ghosted her, when the trust couldn't be touched, when the friends stopped believing her stories, that's when the calls started. Not angry anymore, not manipulative, just sad, desperate. Voicemails like, "Can we just talk? I know I messed up, but maybe we can fix this." But I never picked up, because there was nothing left to say. She didn't just leave me. She tried to erase me, and when that didn't work, she wanted sympathy. But I had already done the hardest part, letting go of the version of her that I once loved. Now, it's quiet in my home. My mother helped me repaint the walls. I got rid of the furniture we picked out together. Little by little, I've been reclaiming this space, making it mine again. And you know what? I'm at peace. Real peace. Not the kind you fake to keep someone else comfortable. The kind that comes from knowing you didn't break when someone tried to bury you. She's a closed chapter now, and the rest of the story, that's mine too, right? If you've made it this far, thank you. Thank you for listening to a story that wasn't easy to tell. Because behind every word I've shared, there's a scar I didn't ask for, one I didn't see coming. But now, I wear it with pride, because it means I survived. And maybe, if you're here, watching this, you're surviving something too. Maybe you're still in the middle of it, wondering if you're crazy for feeling like something's off. Or maybe you've already been burned. Maybe someone you loved made you question your worth. Maybe you're sitting with the weight of betrayal and trying to figure out how to breathe again. If that's you, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not alone. You are not weak for trusting someone. And you are not petty for protecting yourself. This world will tell you to forgive quickly, to turn the other cheek, to always be the bigger person. But sometimes being the bigger person means recognizing when someone's trying to shrink you. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is step back, stay quiet, and move in silence. Revenge doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be cruel. Sometimes the best kind of revenge is peace. Real peace. A life free from manipulation. A life that you choose. on your terms. If this story resonated with you even just a little, do me a small favor. Hit that subscribe button, not because it helps the channel, though it does, but because you deserve stories that reflect your strength. You deserve to hear that being betrayed doesn't make you broken. It makes you wiser, sharper, stronger than you ever knew. And if you're going through something right now, whether it's a breakup, a divorce, a silent war behind closed doors, please know this: you are stronger than you think. And the moment you decide to stop begging for loyalty and start reclaiming your power, everything changes. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And remember, sometimes being one step ahead isn't revenge, it's survival.